Mehdi Hasan has a message for Democrats with the release of the recent polling numbers for Biden, which, to put it as kindly as I can, they were terrible. They were horrendous, but they were very understandable. Of which Mehdi Hasan has a message for Democrats: calm down. And you know what? I'm with him up to a point. I want you to listen to him, and then we'll take it on the other side.
It's November the 5th, 2023, which means exactly a year from now, November the 5th, 2024, Americans will go to the polls to pick their president. And it looks almost certain that once again they'll be picking between Joe Biden and Donald Trump. A choice that Americans are saying in poll after poll that they do not want. They don't want a rerun of 2020. They don't want Democratic and Republican candidates with the names Biden and Trump. But here we are. And here's the bad news for Team Biden in particular. If the election were held not a year from now, but today, the twice impeached, 4 times indicted Donald J. Trump would win the Electoral College with over 300 votes, easily defeating President Biden. That's according to a new poll out today from the New York Times and Siena College, which shows Biden losing to Trump in 5 of the 6 key battleground states: Arizona, Georgia, Michigan, Nevada, and Pennsylvania. The president is ahead only in Wisconsin and only by 2 percentage points there. It's worth noting that Joe Biden carried all 6 of these states back in 2020. But that's not all. The new poll also points to several other glaring liabilities for the president, including his age. 71% of voters surveyed say Biden, who will turn 81 later this month, is too old to be an effective president. That includes a remarkable 54% of his own supporters. The same doesn't apply, weirdly, to 77-year-old Donald Trump. Only 39% of the overall electorate say that Trump is too old to hold office, with just 19% of his supporters sharing that view. Another issue hurting Biden is the economy. Voters by a 59% to 37% margin trust Trump over Biden on economic issues. That's the largest gap of any issue surveyed in that poll. That's despite the fact that just last week we learned that strong consumer spending drove the US GDP to its biggest rise in nearly 2 years, growing 4.9%. And right now, unemployment is at one of its lowest rates for 50 years. But people don't seem to care in the polling. There's also growing concerns over President Biden's mental fitness. According to the poll, 62% of voters say the president does not have the mental sharpness to be effective. And yet, believe it or not, only 44% of voters believe the same of Donald Trump. However, Trump's declining mental acuity is kind of hard to ignore. Here he is just last night in Florida delivering yet another incoherent, rambling, mad speech.
Many, many terrorists are coming in. Thousands of middle-aged men are coming in. Young men are coming in. Everyone's saying, how come they're all so young and so strong? And they're coming from China. Everything's a lie. The whole thing is a lie. The whole election was a lie. Why would I do a debate when Christie, sir, I'm sorry, he is not a fat pig, okay, this man? You said, he is not a fat pig. No, it's true. And you can't use the term fat. You're allowed to use the word pig, but not fat.
He sounds totally mentally fit to be president to me. But perhaps the most stark finding from that new poll from the Times is this. Biden trails Trump by 5 points nationally, but when voters were asked about a hypothetical race involving not Biden, but an unnamed generic Democrat, that candidate actually leads Trump by 8 points. That's a 13-point swing. So to call these poll results anything other than savage for the president of the United States, for the Democratic Party, and let's be honest, for the future of American democracy, would be an understatement. To pretend things are fine and will be fine is mad. Having said all that, let me say again tonight, as I have said many times before on this show, we also do need to calm down a bit, get some perspective, especially historical perspective. Yes, the polls are bad for the sitting president, but we are still 1 year, exactly 1 year out from the election, 12 whole months. The Biden campaign for re-election hasn't yet fully launched. The Trump criminal trials, 4 of them, haven't yet started. And we know that incumbent presidents like Barack Obama and Ronald Reagan also trail their expected opponents at this stage in their first terms too, only to emerge victorious a year later. We also know that Biden's own poor approval ratings didn't really hurt Democrats in the midterms either. Remarkably, they held on to the Senate and prevented a red wave in the House. They did it by focusing on abortion rights and voting rights, which they can and presumably will do again next year. And in the meantime, Trump is giving Democrats ample ammo to use against him almost daily.
Yes, Democrats who are concerned about Donald Trump taking the lead in the polls right now, responsible Republicans who are concerned about Donald Trump being in the lead right now, independents who are concerned that that Donald Trump is in the lead right now, really, as Mehdi Hasan has to say, calm down. Because what you have is 12 months to go ahead and undo all that, or to do all that wasn't done to make sure, not that Americans know what's, how the economy really is, etc. Because you know what? Americans are living it. And in as much as employment, we're at near full employment, in as much as inflation is coming down, in as much of all these things are occurring, we have still allowed the plutocracy, the oligarchy, the wealthy business owners, we have really allowed them to extract our wealth, extract every gain that we've had. We've allowed them to take it away. So, in effect, what we need to say is, as Brother Hassan has said, calm down. And now, understand what Americans are going through. Yes, numero uno. Numero dos. Let it be known that you have a fix for what they're going through. It is time to go outright, not only on Trump for what he did with giving all these tax breaks to his wealthy friends, but at the same time, his wealthy friends are now reaping the rewards of inflation, reaping the rewards of all we did for them during COVID. But we also have to go ahead and let them know that the time of the wealthy getting by on the backs of the poor and the middle class will be mitigated. When they talk about give the people hope, it's not just give the people hope, it's give them a pathway to that hope being realized. And if Democrats do that, and they can, they have probably 8 months to do that. And I mean, if you forget about your ivory tower consultants and you start working with the grassroots and you make these things that you are going to do for society organic from within, from the grassroots, then you'll succeed. Because you know who knows about grassroots? You know who is nurturing every single demographic, every single group of folk? The Republicans are. The MAGA folks are. They're talking to everybody. Yeah, they're losing most, but they're winning enough, including, if this poll is to be believed, 22% of the Black population and a large percentage of the Latino population, etc. If that is to be believed, again, what they're doing is they're working the grassroots. They are working the grassroots, and that is what Democrats have to do. Work the grassroots, give that pathway to hope being realized.
We spend a lot of time deconstructing the news, trying to parse it into a form that everybody can understand. We try to find those little nitpicks where it flies above the fray, etc. If you really like these videos that we do, I want to ask a big favor. Please go ahead. Number 1, subscribe to our channel. And number 2, please join if you can. Thank you so kindly for watching. Keep watching. Please remember to share. We must populate the entire internet with our progressive message, a message that we know is what most Americans say that they want. So help us, please join.